put her on the front row.
Okay.
So anyway, I think there's a few more people coming, and I hope they get to make it. I was trying to drag it out so that they could make it, but anyway, I want to thank my sister for being the hostess and doing all of that for me. I really appreciate it, sister. So what I want to do before I let you all do your Q&A, because I know you all have tons of questions that you have, so we can't wait to hear. But I just wanted to give a quick synopsis of why I wrote this book and my inspiration behind it. First of all, the title of my book is called Unlock the Mystery of Love. And anybody who hasn't read the book yet, chapter 2 in this book to me is a very, very vital piece to love. You know, when you get married and you fall in love, you think love is gonna last forever. And then you find out that love is a joke. And then you say, I don't love this person anymore, and he doesn't love me anymore. And that's not really what love is. And so it was when things happen to you in your relationship, and not necessarily your relationship with your spouse, but your relationship with your sister, your brother, your spouse, people that you love, it makes you question love. And so I decided to give an explanation of what love really is. So chapter 1 through 3 in my book is all about people doing a self-discovery. Because you can't love someone if you don't know the epitome of who you are. And if you don't read anything else, just read chapter 1 through 3 when you get your book. Just read chapter 1 through 3. Chapter 2 is called How We Love. And so what I do, I go through and give some of the different phases of love. But one of the things that I really like in chapter 2 is the very end of it. Once a guy was in love with a girl. She wasn't the most beautiful, but for him, she was everything. He dreamed about her, about spending the rest of his life with her. His friends told him, why do you dream so much about her when you don't even know if she loves you? First, tell her your feelings and find out if she likes you. He felt that was the right way. The girl knew from the beginning that this guy loved her. One day when he proposed, she told him no. His friends thought he would overdose on alcohol or drugs and would ruin his life. To their surprise, her rejection didn't depress him. When his friends asked why he wasn't sad, he replied, why should I feel sad? I lost one who never loved me. She lost the one who really loved her and cared for her. So the moral of the story is true love is hard to get. Appreciate the honesty and simplicity of love. And when I discovered this story, that like broke a piece for me. He walked away with no hard feelings. How many of us can do that? When you give and give and give to somebody, you can't hardly walk away and say, oh well. But if you read this entire chapter, it's really going to be an eye-opener for you because it even touches on the definition of soulmate. But it goes into this in-depth story of how someone like this man can get to that point. And chapter 2 briefly breaks that down. So that's one of my favorite parts in the book is chapter 2. And I love that simple story about how someone can walk away from a person who doesn't love them. And how do you get to that point? Well, that's what the book is going to tell you. Now, the next thing that I wanted to emphasize about my book, chapter 1 through 3 are the most important part in the book because to me, a person can shift everything if you shift the way you think. If you shift the way you think, you can change everything. And that is biblical because the Bible says you can move a mountain with your mind. Now, does God mean a physical mountain? No. But what he's saying is anything that you want to change, anything that you want to do, it starts right here. So to me, the two most important things in this life is the mind and the brain. Now you look and you say, the mind and the brain is the same thing. It absolutely is not. And so what you have to learn is the mind controls the brain. So what is the mind? The mind is what is connected to our heart. The mind actually lives in the heart. Now that is deep. That is deep. That's Ethan. I forgot to introduce him, and I think that's why he keeps hitting the door. So that's my baby. That's my baby. And I keep, no, I didn't introduce him. So if we can change, so this is a big process. Actually, in March 19, I'm going to have some classes on my website about this concept of mind and brain and how to rewire your mind so that your mind can work your brain. So the mind is the seat of the heart. The heart is the piece that God left us when He created us. So the mind sends signals to the body. Your brain is a part of your body. So your brain is up here, and your brain is this neurological network that controls everything that goes on. But it doesn't do anything without first the mind telling it to. So my concept is, if a person can get to the mind and sit down and say, okay, why do I have this view? Okay, how did I get here? Because every single thing in our life started with a thought or it started with a lesson. And we learn by repetition. So we repeat things over and over in our mind, and then the mind in turn trains the rest of the body. So can you fall out of love with somebody? Not really. Because we are all a force of energy. Love is a force of energy that can neither be created nor destroyed. But it can change from one form to the next. So if we can take our mind and get our mind wrapped around how, instead of letting external forces control that force or that meter that's moving, you know how Monday you wake up, the husband got up and they laugh. And then they say you get on their nerves. I don't believe I don't get on my We have some guys chiming in. So how do we control that? That too is energy. When somebody's cranking on that last nerve, that is a force of energy. But we can absolutely control that force of energy by learning how to control the mind, the heart. But we're not taught that. See, no one, you don't come out of your mother's womb with anyone saying, this is how you think. This is how you generate thoughts. Nobody teaches you that, right? You go through your whole life and you learn it by trial and error. You learn it all on your own. And I just give just a few of those nuggets in my book. It was just, I just couldn't get it all in this book. but yeah, it's coming. But it's a few pieces in here. So in chapter 3, I put some pieces in the book about self-realization and self-actualization. So in chapter 3 on page 24, I talk about self-realization and I give this diagram and I tell what self-realization is. Self-realization is the true self. So self-realization is the person that you are without who your mom said you were, who your dad said you were, who your friends said you were. Because think about all the metamorphoses we go through in life. When you're in elementary, you're transforming for your friends. When you're in high school, you're transforming to fit in with your friends. When you go to work, you're transforming to fit in with your coworkers. You transform, you mutate your entire life. But self-realization is getting back to that person that you were before everybody changed you. And that's what controlling the mind is. It's getting back to that self-realization, that real person. So you can control and you can foster and bring anything into your life that you want. Love, you want love? You can bring in love. You tired of love? Well, you can give love back. you have the complete autonomy, and I think that is so freeing about love. And that's really why it's a mystery, because we have the power to control it. And you know, your husband hurts you or your wife hurts you. you have the power to tell that hurt where to go. And I think that is just so amazing. So I put some of that in chapter 3 and broke that down. But I really wanted people to get, I didn't want to make the book so scary to read. But that's why I'm excited about the meet the author, because I get to tell it and meet the author the way I really want to tell it. But I didn't want to put it in the book because it can be too scary to think or read something like that without hearing someone tell it. But that is two of the things that are most important to me, is that mind and the brain. Because what the brain does, one thought process in your brain is made up of 1 million proteins. So a thought is actually a ball of energy. You know, even you can be sitting there thinking, like, what am I gonna wear tomorrow? That is a real force of energy. And so it's been tested by scientists. And y'all, if anybody who follows me on Instagram, you know my favorite book. Don't say anything, Terry. My favorite book is called Switch on Your Brain. I've read this book 3 times because it's so powerful to know how you can have the power to control that actual protein, which is a thought. And you have the power to erase that thought. So let's say if the thought comes to your mind, let's say you're dealing with a person who has mental illness, and the person is saying, I want to kill myself. This is an extreme example, but I'm just using it as an example. And the person saying, you know, I want to kill myself, I want to commit suicide, because everything starts with a thought, right? You can't do anything without the thought. Like even you all being here today, it started with a thought, right? See, that's how powerful a thought is. So you have the power, the science proves it in this book, that if you don't want to think that that thought anymore, you can erase it permanently from your brain by repeating and erasing the pattern of that protein for 21 days. And before you know it, that thought disappears and won't come back to your brain again. That's how much power we have as human beings.
So is that why they tell us to fast?
Exactly, because fasting kills the flesh.
Anything for 21 days.
Which I'm glad you brought that up. I know y'all see my naked toes and naked fingernails. And I am fasting, so I did not paint. Because I had to do it natural for that. So yes, that is why. So those are just some interesting things that I just wanted to share with you guys today, because in my research of writing the book, which took me 2 years to write, I started writing the book in 2016. And I actually stopped writing 2017, January. I was writing 2016. I had like maybe 5 chapters written. And I was like, nobody's gonna get this, nobody's gonna understand this. Let me just, I don't get it. Let's go on to something else. Yeah, and I was like, nobody's gonna get this. This is just, people gonna think it's just crazy. But then in 2017, I ran into this prophet, and the prophet brought up about my book. And when he saw me, he said, you know, you should be writing books. You know, you're gonna travel the world and you should be writing books. And it brought me to tears, because I was like, oh my God, I already started writing a book. And I stopped. So needless to say, long story short, I finished that book 2 months later after meeting him. Because I knew then that the Spirit was telling me, I'm calling you to do this. Don't worry about what people are gonna think. Don't worry about people not understanding. This is something that I'm calling you to do. And so I finished it in 2017, and here we are now having the book release. So I appreciate everyone's support. Like I said, if you haven't gotten the book, please get the book. It's available now on Amazon.com. If you don't read anything else, it's an easy read. It's only 6 chapters. You don't read anything else, just read chapter 2 and 3. I think it would be open your eyes to a different way of viewing things, ways that we are not taught to view things, and it'll give you a whole new concept on love. Because once you get this person in line, everything else falls together. You have the power to will anything else to you after that. You want a career making this amount of money, you got the power to do it. You wanna be married, you wanna have a family, you have the power to do it. No one controls that. It's not, well, maybe it'll happen, you know, I don't know. Absolutely, you have the power to do it and bring it into fruition. So, I need to stop talking right there. I can go on and on and on, y'all. I'm telling you, that's why I stood up, because I knew I was gonna go on and on and on. And then I made my notes, so that way I knew that I would go over. But let me make sure that I covered everything in my notes. Okay, did I give everyone? Yes, okay. Now I'm gonna let you all talk. But I'm just so passionate about this subject, and I'm so passionate about people, you know, accomplishing what they want to accomplish. I am just so passionate about that. I'm so passionate. I'm passionate about marriage. I'm passionate about love. I'm passionate about career, because I know for a fact that you can make anything happen that you want to make happen. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter where you live. You can make it happen. I'm just so passionate about that. Okay, now I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna let you all talk. And, are we gonna schedule?
Yes, we are. Next is questions.
Oh,
Have any
Okay.
questions about?
Is that the book right there? Is that
Yes.
available for purchase?
I can't sell them in the library,
But we'll meet you in the parking lot.
but we can be sure.
And how much are they? And then you have-
$9.99.
Okay.
$9.99.
You got change?
I think we.
I only got big bills.
Oh,
I gotta ask.
okay. We have to get some cash. But who else? Anybody else have any questions about the book, or just something that you wanna ask? I know some of you all follow my live on Facebook. Are you getting it, Lakeland? Oh, fantastic. Okay, great. And I have shared some videos on there. I've shared some videos, me and my husband, we've done 2 videos together where we talk about our marriage and talk about our relationship and some of the things that have happened in our relationship and how we kind of and bounce back for that. He was supposed to be in here for this segment, but I think his mom is lost. So you can ask questions about the podcast if you have questions about that or anything.
What inspired you to like?
Oh, that's a great question. My children. I distinctly remember in 2010 laying in the bed holding Lakeland. At this time, I was a stay-at-home mom, and Lakeland was maybe 1. And I remember looking at her thinking, she is completely dependent on me. Like her whole survival right now is dependent on me.
Yeah.
And this girl's gonna be in the world one day on her own. And so I knew then that I had an obligation to make the world better for her. And that's how the whole thing started. It started with the nonprofit organization, Shades of Elegance, and it has grown from that to the book.
What's the nonprofit organization?
Shades of Elegance.
And where is this?
Everywhere. I will give you the information, Jenny.
Yeah, that's.
And the
that's how
website
you
is
started.
shadesofelegance.org.
By young ladies, because as Black women, sometimes we're lost. We're completely lost in the world. We really don't have anyone to relate to us. And I think that's one thing my sister and I, we talked about. When she brought that up to me, I was like, okay, what do I need to do? But I think that's what really inspired you with the book, because we state about a lot of young Black women of color. We have problems with self-esteem. So from there, I think that's when you that's when you had mentioned to me about writing a book. But of course, everybody knows, if you know my sister, she is a busybody, so. She always has something, you know.
In the works.
Yeah, in the works. And when she brought that up about that, you know, about the book, that really, I thought that was the best thing.
Yeah.
We need something simple or tool to help us to understand love. And love is with self first.
And I think in our culture, it's been embedded in our heart, in our mind, that love is something totally different than what it is. It's something tangible. It's something that you can see. It's something that And like you have to have the money to go with it, or you have to have security from a man to go, and it's really not that at all. So I cannot wait for all three of us to digest this book, cause you blowing my mind right now, for real. Because we need that, like you said, we need that. We think we have it all together, we think that we are the perfect mothers. And sometimes you just don't know what to tell them, because you are broken, you don't have love yourself. So how can you transfer that to them? You know, and then, so this can be a guide for me. I need a guide so that I'll be able to produce strong black
And you know what,
women.
Jenny, I think you make a very good point. I'm glad that you brought that up because, you know, we as a race of people, which I think is pretty much safe for me to say race of people, we have been in the lesser pole for generations. And so we are playing catch up. You know, other nationalities have been ahead. They've had a much more advances than us. And there has been so many intentional efforts to keep us as people suppressed. And guess how they do that? By controlling the mind. So if you can make someone believe that they don't have the tools, or if you can make someone believe they're not that smart, if you can make someone believe that you need this person's approval, you have complete control over that person. You may not control them physically. It's just like the story about the dog that Dr. Miles Monroe tells. They had the dog, he was tied to a chain. And for 3 days, they laid a stake in front of the dog, but he was tied to the chain. So when he went for the stake, he couldn't get it because he's tied to the chain. It wasn't 3 days, 3 months. After 3 months, they took the chain off and they laid the stake out there, and he didn't have the stake anymore. And that's what has happened to our culture, and that's what has happened to our people. The chain's not there anymore, but we ain't going after that stake, and it's right there. You know, it's like right there, but we're not going after it because we have been conditioned and programmed to believe that we can't go past this mark. And so, it should be more books. Unlock the mystery of love. Unlock the mystery of finances. Unlock the mystery of. It's just so many ways. I just chose to start with love, but there's so many things that in our community we gotta unlock. So that's a great point.
Yeah, I think it's a form of generational curse as well. It's been embedded in our DNA, basically. So it's kind of scary when you try to show affection. Oh, we don't do that. You don't
talk
do
about that.
You don't talk about that. And that suppresses our feelings. And it's hard for a person to love you when you don't suppress that feeling of putting up a fence around you. So, you know, that's true.
Or you not supposed to feel.
Yeah,
That's what I.
Yeah.
And it wasn't intentional, but
Yeah.
you're supposed to be the strong one. You're supposed to not show any emotions.
Yeah.
Everyone, this is my mother-in-law and my father-in-law. I already told them his stories that y'all be on the front row. I'm glad y'all made it. Who else? We're doing question and answers now. So, I'm not gonna call names, but I will start calling names.
How many years have you all been married?
Lee and I have been married for 10 years.
Wow.
We've been married. It'll be 10 years in April.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I didn't think we'd make it this far. Did you, darling? Well, I remember when we were. It is so funny when you read the book. I do have like tidbits of stories when we met. And one of my favorite things about when we were talking, I remember that, if you want to be a wife, you got to sometimes kind of act like that just a little bit. Okay? And just a little bit. And I remember once, I cooked Lee some spaghetti. And I cooked that spaghetti, and I remember I called him, I was like, I was just cooking, and I cooked some spaghetti, would you like to have some? And he told me to bring it to him, and I guess he ate it, and he called me the next morning, he was like, man, that day you cooked me, it was so good. That was some good spaghetti. That day you fell in love.
Yeah, it was.
Spaghetti got you?
Yeah.
That must have been some good spaghetti.
And it seemed like it was so long ago, but,
It's the craziest thing, he told me the exact same story, but you wasn't even around.
he did.
He told me the exact same story, he's like, he was calling me the law before we came to sister. When he first met me, I was, what's up, law? He was like, man, I'm gonna tell you, law, how your sister got me, and she had cooked.
So that really was.
Yeah, it was. And I think you was at work or something, but he let me know how much he cared about my sister, which I already seen that. But when I first met him, I said, oh, y'all talking to like, girl, no, it's nothing like that. But he told me after he had cooked, that was it. No,
Well, I remember that.
yeah.
And here we are, 10 years later.
Yes.
But did you try to play hard to get at first on?
Yes, I did. Because I said him, I had a boyfriend. So yes, I did. And he told me that he left a note on my car.
I did.
Called me.
I did.
And to this day, I
Never seen the note.
But we end up running into each other again. I don't know.
It was.
He was like, girl, sometimes he would call, girl, I'm not answering that phone.
And I remember this, they don't get mad at me to tell this story, but I love this. I remember that this lets you know this was a long time ago, because I had an answering machine. So that tell y'all how long it was. But I remember, I didn't give him my cell number, because see, I had a boyfriend. But I gave him my house number. And I do remember that he called and he left like a voicemail every day. I never called him back. And I remember the last voicemail, he said, okay, this is Drew Dunn. I've been calling every day. You had to call me back. And this is the last message. And I remember I hurry and I called him back. I remember that. No. Like Tamara said, man, hard to get. Does anybody else have it?
Are you in the process of making other books?
Yes, I'm working on another book now that I hope will come out in March 2020, and it's gonna be called Driven by Destiny and Carried by Faith.
Oh.
So be looking for that in 2020. If we still alive. And then in March 2019, on my website, I will release my first online course, and it's gonna be, Good, Better, Best You. So be looking for that coming. I'm posting it on my Instagram and everything as soon as I have time to do PowerPoint slides. But that course is gonna be coming, and it's gonna be based off of some of the concepts that we talked about here today. The brain, it's gonna be a detox session in the class. There is gonna be I wrote that down in my notes of what's gonna be on that class. There will be, brain detox, the gratitude effect, and the self-discovery effect. So that'll be on the online course. So all of you all sign up when it's released. Okay?
Well, I wanted to bring up the part that I remember we was writing this, because you and I, we had talked about it, And the part about soulmates, how sometimes us and soulmates, you have this idea of soulmate as, oh, when I see them, I just feel we just connected. That brought up the point that it's different types of soulmates in your life who you will meet. I just thought that was so interesting. And made me even want to research myself about the soulmate part. I thought that was a valid point. I thought that was an excellent point.
Well, I did a lot of research, because, you know, we are trained from a very young age that there's just one person out there in the world, out of all these billions of people, that you're gonna have to dig through and find that one person. And I was like, I don't know, it's just, to me, that's just so hard to believe that there's just one person. And so I started doing a lot of research on it and looking things up and comparing my reading to the Bible. And I said, you know, in that discovery, I found that soulmate is just a person that comes in your life to carry your soul to the next level. That person may be intended to stay with you for a lifetime, and they may not. Because we all know, even if you have a bad relationship, you learn some valuable lessons in that relationship. Sometimes it could, you know, it could be, and it was a lot of things probably that happened that hurt you, or a lot of things that were very, very hard to get over. But at the end of the day, that person catapulted you to a different level of your existence. And so, not saying that everybody that hurt you is your soulmate, but just saying that sometimes that soulmate can be that person that comes along in your life and teaches you some valuable lessons. So that is in chapter 2 in the book, and that's why that's one of my favorite chapters. Okay, nobody else?
It's a draw.
What is that? Yeah.
I want to give my mother-in-law Miss Doris a chance to speak. Do you have anything?
No.
Okay. And you look pretty too, by the way. Okay, husband,
What is it?
you want to add any comments there?
Nah, I ain't. Nah, baby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's it. I'll put it back over to our hostess with the mostest.
Okay, guys, if you have a book, you can come up and let Ms. Donna Knight sign your book.
And y'all want to get some more refreshments, y'all feel free. Eat everything else.
That's mine,
Who book
dog.
is this, like?
Mine.
Oh, this for mine, oh, okay. So they did tell us 3 o'clock, we did really good. That's all that we have, y'all wanna get some more refreshments, get your book signed, or come up, whatever you wanna do. I wanna take some pictures with you guys. So, baby, you want to switch to the camera so we can get some pictures.